There's no indication, I think, that Elon Musk is treating this seriously. It's worth noting that he's lost, I think it's something like 40% of his revenue in December, and that was when the site actually worked. So this is kind of a sinking ship.
Since billionaire Elon Musk took it over, Twitter has barely been out of the news. The site has had serious technical problems twice in a week, with posting some images and links. Twitter said some parts of the service were not working as expected and blamed an internal change that had unintended consequences. It later said that things should now be working as normal. Thanks for sticking with us, with a cheery exclamation mark. But what is going on behind the scenes? Could it be connected to the huge staff cuts that Elon Musk brought in when he took over? Well, Chris Stokel-Walker is a tech reporter and he can tell us. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Kate.
What's going on behind the scenes here? Is this down to the fact that Elon Musk has sacked a load of really important people and the service now is just not able to cope under the strain?
In a word, yeah, it is. It is. That is the fundamental reason. Twitter had thousands of employees. They now have less than 2,000, including fewer than 550 engineers. The engineers are the really important bits. They're kind of the equivalent of the people who put together our roadworks program on the roads. And you can imagine what happens if you had nobody actually working on the roads and all the potholes got worse and worse. Engineers are there to kind of keep the site running. And as soon as you winnow them out to basically nothing, then you start to get problems like this, because we have kind of a depredation of what is happening on Twitter, but then also finding fixes essentially for the issues that they identify becomes much more problematic, because they don't have the long-term knowledge, they don't have the expertise, and they don't have the ability to kind of tap someone on the shoulder and say, what happens if I press this button? And it does seem like yesterday's incident was because one single engineer put out a bit of computer code that was designed to update the app that then actually made it much, much worse, and as you say, caused all of these problems.
I mean, we sort of laugh a little bit because, it's Twitter and we can all continue our daily lives, or most of us can, without it. But should we be worried here? Because so much is conducted now on this site. It has a lot of people's personal information. And by the sounds of it, things are just not as secure or as capable as they once were.
Yeah, they're not. And, I often will communicate with sources through Twitter direct messages. They no longer really feel safe. Lots of people will talk to charities. You were talking earlier about kind of the impact of Wayne Couzens and the impact on vulnerable women. Often those people will reach out to organizations that can offer them support through social media like Twitter. And so this is a really, really important place. It's one that Elon Musk called the public forum on his attempt to purchase this around about a year ago. And suddenly, if you start breaking the public forum, or if you start making changes to it that kind of fundamentally alter how this thing works and makes it much less safe, then there are huge problems. And you can only look, for instance, at the recent earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, where people were literally tweeting from underneath the rubble, "I'm trapped under a building, please help," for why this matters so much. In some instances, this is literally life and death.
Is there any sign that Elon Musk understands how serious this is and is going to grip the problem and that things might improve? Or should people start thinking about alternatives to Twitter, and what are they?
No sign that Elon Musk has kind of recognized the importance of this. He spent the evening overnight while I've been asleep getting into an argument with a former employee who he's fired but hasn't given any notice to, including essentially baying for the crowd to kind of pile on him. So there's no indication, I think, that Elon Musk is treating this seriously. It's worth noting that he's lost, I think it's something like 40% of his revenue in December, and that was when the site actually worked. So this is kind of a sinking ship. Alternatives are plentiful. One of the most popular is Mastodon. It's kind of an open sourced equivalent of this. It is a little bit complicated to use. Ironically, actually, multiple former Twitter employees, people who were let go by Elon Musk, are developing their own sorts of alternatives. So it's worth having a look around. I don't think that this is yet going down like the Titanic, but it is certainly bringing in water, and it's probably worth considering alternatives as you can.
Chris Stokel-Walker, thank you for that technology reporter there. I mean, it is worrying. I mean, there are people on the text saying Twitter's a free service, you shouldn't rely on it for work. But at the end of the day, lots of people do.
They do. And also there's this question of, he was supposed to be this great business genius, Elon Musk, and he spends 44 billion quid on Twitter, excuse me, which he didn't really want. He tried to back out of it and then was forced to have it. And what's his plan? His plan seems to cut costs and try and get people to still stick around on it.
Yeah.